So good morning. The April 16th, 2024 meeting of the Charter Authorizing Panel is called to order. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Department of Education and ask that you please silence your cell phones and other electronic devices. The goal is to facilitate a fair and responsible hearing, so therefore I ask that each person speaking speak clearly into the microphone and do so for this panel and for the watching participants. This audience, the viewing audience, and so therefore this meeting is being live streamed and recorded, and a transcript of the meeting will be posted on the DESE website. All right, good morning, everybody. Morning, panel members. We have a consent agenda before us today. If there are no questions, I'll accept a motion to pass the consent agenda.
I move to pass the consent agenda.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Mr. Reynolds? Good morning. I think the microphone may be off. Should be a switch on the...
Testing. There you go.
See? Somebody smarter than me. All right. Good morning. Stephen Reynolds, staff attorney for the department. I'm just going to go over the procedures real quick. Dr. Sutherland, you'll want to swear in all the parties speaking, except for the attorneys that are going to be giving testimony. For each item on the agenda, each applicant will have 20 minutes to present. To my knowledge, there's no opposition for any of the applicants. So then after they present, we'll do the legal review and you guys can ask questions. Anybody testifying, please state your name before you speak, even if you've already spoken, so we can have a clear record. Any members of the community that are here to speak on behalf of the applicant will need to speak during the 20 minutes. Any elected officials that are here can speak before the hearing during the 20 minutes or at the conclusion of all the testimony. That's up to the official and the applicant, how they want to move forward. Following that, after each applicant presents, we'll go through any legal concerns and waivers. Then you guys can ask questions.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Summons?
Good morning, Dory Summons, DESE Charter Office. The first school on the agenda is the School for Advanced Studies, and they are requesting to change the grade level served from grades 5 through 9 to grades 5 through 10. They're also asking to waive the Fine Arts Curriculum Standard, which is 1A, excuse me, 1-A1.36. Waive the curriculum, advanced placement, the code, the standard, and the DESE rules associated with that, and waive the curriculum foreign language standard 1-A.135. We also have a representative for School for Advanced Studies, and Mrs. Rowe is on the Zoom link.
All right, thank you very much.
For questions.
Appreciate it. All right, will all those who plan on speaking on behalf of the charter please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
All right, you may begin.
Chris Ferguson, Vice President of Growth with Basis Ed in the School for Advanced Studies. Ms. Rowe will lead off and kick off the presentation today, and then I'm happy to be here to answer any questions.
Thank you. So do we have a presentation? Oh, okay. So, Ms. Rowe? I believe you're muted. Ms. Rowe, can you hear us?
Can you guys hear me? I don't have any audio.
Excuse me, she is saying that she can't hear anything yet.
Okay. So I think we've got some audio issues. Just 1 minute. Testing. Can we hear now?
Well, Mr. Baldwin can't hear us either, so I think.
Mm-hmm. Testing. 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 Is everybody
Dr.
muted?
Rod McMurray and Mr. Scott were muted.
Okay, let's try again. Test.
My audio's not connected.
Choose your own.
Can we hear now?
Yeah, but my audio's not on.
Can she say something and let us know?
If you can hear us, say something, please. And I believe, Ms. Rowe, you're muted at the moment.
She's muted now.
I'm afraid they still can't hear us because Mr. Baldwin is not acknowledging that he can hear us either.
I'm so sorry. Just a moment.
Good morning.
Oh,
This is Deanna. Can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Well, we can maybe at least let her start if we tell her in the chat that we can hear her.
But the weird
Yes.
thing is, like, Mr. Baldwin can hear her, because he gave a thumbs up that he could hear her.
He can hear
Okay,
her.
so he
Well,
can
he
hear
gave a
through
thumbs up that he
Zoom.
could hear her, but they can't hear us.
Right, he can hear through Zoom, so,
Mhm.
yeah, let's let her start, and then we'll see if we can figure it out.
I
on
told her
our end.
that we can hear if she wants to present as we continue to figure out on our end. No, I don't know if she's looking. at
Good
the
morning. I'm sorry. I can't hear anyone else. Are you looking for me to begin my presentation? I'm a little bit confused.
chat. Can you tell her to look at the chat?
Deanna, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Yes, I think they're having audio difficulties in Little Rock.
Okay. So, but has the meeting, they haven't started the meeting then yet?
They haven't started the meeting. We're all just waiting.
We have.
Perfect. All right. Well, I guess it's not perfect, but happy it's not me on this end. Thank you.
No, you're good. You're good.
Maybe we hold up signs.
That's
and-
what I'm working on it.
I just saw a message from somebody that said that they can hear everybody, please start presenting. Was sent through the chat.
Okay. So you would like me to go ahead and start our presentation? I'm happy to
Well-
do so.
Check the chat. I think I saw something come through that they said that they could hear us and that you could start presenting, but check your chat. Check the chat.
We can hear both of you. Please start presenting. You got it.
Dr. Sutherland,
Well then, good
it
morning,
may go-
everyone.
may go without saying
Chairman
that
Sutherland and
she
panel
wanted to
members,
swear
it's an honor to be
the
here with you
people on Zoom
today.
in.
I'm Deanna Rowe, the Executive Director for Arkansas Schools for Advanced Studies, and I appreciate your consideration of our amendment request. Oh, hold on a minute. I'm getting,
She needed to swear her.
oh, gotta swear in? Sorry. I'm not sure how we're gonna do this if I can't
Can you type it into the
hear you guys.
What do you have to say?
here?
Oh my goodness. And this is being recorded, that's what's
Yes.
comical. Oh.
Did I do?
She does.
All right, thank you.
I'm sorry, and Chris
Recording
Ferguson
in
is,
progress.
Okay, is it not?
Chris Ferguson is with me today as well, if he needed, you're good. All right, perfect, thank you, thank you. All right, so I'll start again. Good morning, Chairman Sutherland and panel members. I'm Deanna Rowe, the Executive Director for Arkansas Schools for Advanced Studies. I appreciate your consideration of our amendment request. I'm sorry I'm not able to be with you in person today, but I am pleased to have Chris Ferguson, our Vice President of Growth for our network, there with you, and we'll try to tackle any questions you may have. As was shared in our amendment request submission, due to higher than anticipated interest from prospective rising 10th grade students and their parents, we would like to amend our charter to allow Schools for Advanced Studies Northwest Arkansas to include 10th graders beginning in August 2024 for the 24-25 school year. The school is approved for grades 5 through 12 and originally applied to serve grades 5 through 9 in its first year of operation. It has been our experience that when families are choosing their high school, that choice usually occurs at 9th grade. Therefore, we initially plan to enroll up through 9th grade in year 1. However, we've had enough interest and applications from families with 10th graders that we can fill a section of 10th grade in year 1 and are happy to do so. Our request also includes a modification to a few of the waivers originally approved with the application. If the panel approves our request and 10th grade can commence sooner than planned, then the school will need less time on certain waivers than initially requested and granted. Those waiver requests have been updated to reflect their expiration a year sooner than the original request. So that's the extent of our request today. We're excited to be making it, and we're happy to address any questions you may have.
Thank you. Mr. Reynolds?
Good morning, Stephen Reynolds, Staff Attorney for the department. I'm going to go over the legal review. So like Ms. Rose said, the charter is requesting to have several waivers expire a year earlier. So I'll just go through those real quick. It's Arkansas Code. This is going to get...
Let's pause for a minute.
Okay.
Guys, we can't understand what you're saying. It's echoing badly.
Yeah, it just started echoing here too.
I guess it's progress that we're here. So that's progress.
You wanna...
Mr. Baldwin, can you hear us?
Recording stopped.
Yeah, probably through the computers or something.
We want to take a 5-minute, take 5.
Yeah, we'll take a 5-minute break. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I did too. I mean, my audio.
Yes,
is
we're
connected,
taking a
but I said
5-minute
maybe
break.
go ahead and just- You gonna go fix it?
I wish I could.
Okay. You got it, look like you were getting ready to, I'm gonna handle this right now. I got this. Got this hold on.
Ms. Rowe, can you hear me?
They're chatting amongst themselves now, they're not
Oh,
listening to
okay.
us.
No, I don't think she can.
She says she hears garble.
She is garbled. Okay.
It's all you.
Yep, it's all your fault.
It's all your fault.
Lower my self-esteem. No, Dan hasn't shown up yet. And Chauncey's on his way. Chauncey? Alright, and I was watching Michael Fox, but I don't know what he was on. Everything's unmuted though.
They said.
Should it be on PC Present or PC Desktop? Yeah, it's on that. Audio levels, everything's unmuted. Okay, that board,
Unfortunately, I believe it's part of the recording. So that's the unfortunate part.
okay, am I holding it up from, and they can hear each other? So Dan is coming. Definitely, Tom. Everything is live. Okay, we changed it to echo and speaker.
Hello, can you hear us now? Can you hear me?
Oh, they can hear.
Okay. Thumbs up.
Miss Rowe, can you hear us as well? Yeah. Is it any better now? But we still can't hear them, so, very well at all. That's very faint.
We need an increase in volume for them.
It
yes.
sounds like there's an echo still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's an echo coming from somewhere.
Yeah. If they turn them up, we're gonna get the echo.
Yeah.
Check the microphone.
Hey, we got it.
Say something, Steve.
Sing a song. Do a dance.
I'm not going to sing.
Can you hear anything? Ask me if you can hear anything.
Mr. Baldwin, can you hear?
Can you hear me?
there's still an echo.
Can you hear me now? But we can't hear them.
Yeah.
And there's still an echo.
We fixed one, messed up the other.
What about Ms. Rowe? Can she hear us?
I think everybody can hear, but now we can't hear in the room.
So the output.
Can you hear me now?
Ask Mr. Baldwin. We want to see if we can hear them in the room.
Mr. Baldwin, can you speak?
Yes, can you hear me? Hello?
All right, we can hear him.
Okay, good.
Miss Rowe, can you say something?
Can you speak?
Absolutely, I can hear you
All right.
now.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Move this.
All right, Mr. Reynolds, if you would like to begin with the legal review.
All right, so
They need to
the
start.
charter's,
I think they're good.
now I'm really hot. The charter's requesting to have a few of their waivers expire a year earlier. So for the curriculum, so waiver topic number 1 is curriculum advanced placement. The statute is Arkansas Code annotated 616-1204C and D. The standard for accreditation 1A.1.3.10, and the rules governing grade and course credit, just section 6. And they're requesting for the waiver to expire a year earlier, which means the waiver would expire June 30th of 2025. Waiver topic number 2 is required instruction 9 through 12, and it's standard 1A, point 1.3.6, which is fine arts. The charter currently holds a waiver standard 1A, point 1.3, and the charter is requesting for the waiver to expire 1 year
Recording in
earlier.
progress.
As to this provision of standard 1A.1.3, which means this waiver would expire June 30th, 2026. The remaining provisions of standard 1A.1.3 would continue to be waived until June 30th of 2027. And then waiver topic number 3 is required instruction 9 through 12. This is standard 1A.1.3.5, which is foreign language. And the charter is requesting to rescind this waiver. And I have no concerns with any of these waivers.
All right, thank you very much. All right, we'll start down here with Dr. Wright McMurray. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. Thanks for kind of giving us the overview and the legal review. I'm just want a little bit more detail on the reason for the waivers. I guess that's what I'm just trying to get more understanding of.
So all 3 of these waivers are waivers that we had been granted when we were here earlier a few months ago. We are actually just drawing back the timeline on them, so they were due to expire later, and we wanted to, in good faith, to have them expire at the time we needed them to expire.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any questions, Freddie?
No questions.
Scott? Yeah. Mr. Davis?
Just quickly, I'm interested in hearing just a little bit more about the interest. Clearly, you all have been working really hard in the community to get folks out. It seems like it's being well received. Just love to kind of hear just a little bit more about that.
Yeah, we've had interest overall from all of the grade levels has actually been very equal, which was frankly surprising to us. There's been a lot of interest. Some of the hires that we've made have also influenced that, where just following that, exceptional teachers, which that candidate pool has been amazing, just putting that out there. So the interest, we've done a number of, I think 12 or 14 info sessions, and at every info session they were pushing us, hey, what about grade 10? What about grade 10? What about grade 11? But that was a step too far this first year. But it's been an equal interest, and so over the last couple of months it's been over 150 applications and fairly evenly spread throughout that, and then that interest is continuing to pick up every week, every 2 weeks, info sessions at the park, and we're getting the same questions for grade 10 that we're getting for grade 5, for grade 7.
Thank you.
And, you said that the candidate pool is exceptional. Can you elaborate on that? I mean, not get in the weeds too much, but just talk a little bit to that, and then also why you think that's the case. Like, what is it that you're doing that's drawing in these candidates?
I think part of what we're doing, to answer the second part of the question first, is really we are doing something unique with the seminar-based instruction and the high level of engagement, and also having a rigorous curriculum, but purposely making it be very accessible to any student who can come in. And I think the combination of that, I think, is appealing to teachers, and also giving them the freedom within that constraint of to really be able to be amazing teachers and engage with their students, I think is something unique. And as far as being able to get, it's just the quality of the candidate, from their interpersonal skills, their ability to teach, their resume, their educational experience. It's been a long time since the pool has been that wide, where all of the candidates we're getting are such a high quality, and we're choosing among dozens of amazingly qualified individuals.
That's really great to hear, and it's really nice to hear that you're providing some strategies maybe for other people to think about as well.
Yep.
So we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Baldwin.
Yeah, so let me just thank you all for working through the audio issues earlier. It sounds good now. Just a few questions about this. So I read your information. Well done. I like the fact the waivers are going to go away earlier than we thought. So we'll be back without as many as we expected. The 10th grade class, I'd be interested in hearing a little bit more detail about the decision-making process that you went through to say 10th grade was good, but 11th grade was a step too far. And then I guess from what I read, the budget, this decision would be budget neutral. And I guess also the facilities are ready for the 10th grade. So just a question there. And then final question would be, how many 10th graders do you think you'll have in the end? I don't know if you can accurately project that, but I'd be curious how large that class would be. I know you said it would be small. I'm just wondering what small means. Thank you.
I'll answer the last part first, and hopefully it was a little bit difficult to hear you, Mr. Baldwin, so I'll do my best to answer all of them. As far as how big we're anticipating, right now it looks like it's probably just going to be one section of 10th graders, so somewhere around 25 to 28 is what we hope to get it to. We can continue to serve more than that, and we'll continue to bring them in because of the way the course schedule works. Realistically, there's only a couple of courses where we have to expand the number of courses offered in order to take more 10th graders beyond that 25 to 28 number. So we are still hopeful to get that up to 45 or so, but 25 to 28 is what we are currently anticipating within that time frame. As far as being budget neutral, it was because a lot of the electives and a lot of the science and the math courses, a lot of those are redundant from 9th grade to 10th grade. We're going to offer an accounting course regardless if we have a 9th grade or a 10th grade. We're going to be offering those additional courses for biology and chemistry and physics, regardless of whether there's a 9th grade or a 10th grade. And so it actually helps from that perspective to have a larger high school. I know I missed a question in there, Dr. Baldwin.
I think the only one that you didn't hit on would be the building capacity, and I'm sure that's fine, but I just want to hear you say that.
The building capacity, based on our review, is about 600 students, depending on how we use the building.
Any other questions, Mr. Baldwin? Dr. Moore?
My only question was, in extending to 10th graders who may not have been in an accelerated environment prior, have y'all had discussions about how those students may be accelerated to ensure that they're able to take advantage of your coursework?
Yeah, so there's a couple of ways that we're really looking at to that. One, that's going to be a major focus of our associate head of school and the school counselor, one of which is hired, the other of which an offer is going out this week. And then a piece of that is really ensuring that the courses that they're able to take, whether it's a math course that they may need to take Algebra 1, they may need to take geometry, that they're accessible schedule-wise to be able to take those. And then across the board, doing a seminar-based instruction is going to be new for all of these students, and really embracing that. And it's actually going to open up the opportunities to really push those kids in that way, but then making sure that we are offering the supports for the students. So all of our teachers will be offering office hours every day after school from 3:15 to 4 o'clock, and they're really working with the families and the students to be able to offer all the supports that they need to come in and rise to that level of rigor by the time they leave us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the panel? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to support the charter amendment request.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the motion passes.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Give us just a few minutes to
Thank
fill out
you.
the voting sheets. All right, we'll start with Mr. Baldwin.
Yes, I voted in favor of the amendment request. I think these changes will advance student learning and meets the needs and requests received from the community.
Dr. Wright McMurray.
I voted for. I support the School for Advanced Studies Northwest Arkansas request to amend their charter and begin enrolling 10th graders in the fall of 2024.
Thank you. Mr. Scott?
Well, I voted for the amendment requests of the School for Advanced Studies, Northwest Arkansas, because there's strong effort to engage families and communities and their due diligence effort to do so.
Mr. Davis?
I voted for. Due to high community demand and interest, I support the charter amendment as requested.
Dr. Moore?
I voted for. I approve the School for Advanced Studies Northwest Arkansas request to amend their charter to begin enrolling 10th graders in the fall of 2024 and for the requested changes to existing waivers.
And then I voted for. I support this data-driven decision to expand the grade levels provided, and I'm excited to see the impact the charter makes on the students of Arkansas as well as the charter's landscape within the state. So thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you all.
Ms. Summons?
Okay. Next on the agenda is Arkansas Lighthouse Charter School. They are requesting to waive Arkansas Code 610-106A, and we have Ms. Noel and Mr. Turker here this morning.
All right, thank you. All right, well, all those who plan on speaking on behalf of the charter, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right, thank you very much. You may begin.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As Ms. Summons stated, we are here to request a waiver of uniform start and end dates. We are also here requesting a waiver for alternative calendar. I'm not sure if it encompasses that rule. It doesn't.
I was gonna say this for legal review, but yeah, it came to my attention that the charter's not only requesting a waiver of 610-106A, which is the uniform start date, they're also requesting a waiver of 610-106G3, which is the reporting date by which a school or a charter has to notify the division that they're using an alternate calendar. So we've done this with several school districts. I lost count at 150. Because of the inclement weather, school districts were transitioning from a traditional school calendar to an alternate school calendar. Under the law, they have to notify the division that they're doing that by July 1st, so the start of the school year. We're in April now, so they wouldn't be able to do that. So we granted, or the state board granted waivers for basically any school district that applied for it. And then I thought that it was just good to have charters come through the CAP instead of going through the state board to do that. So,
All right, thank you.
So again, our waiver request includes what he said, as well as the first day of the school year for student attendance in public elementary and secondary schools. Our rationale, Arkansas Lighthouse Charter Schools will provide scholars with 1,131 instructional hours. That's 63 hours longer than the minimum required by law. Our board of directors requests the school year for the student attendance begins earlier than is prescribed by law, and the proposed first day for students for 24-25 academic year would be Thursday, August 8th. We have inserted a proposed 24-25 school year calendar as well. And then just a comparison, student hours go from the 1,068 minimum to the 1,131, and then the professional development days that we've embedded, the law requires no less than 6, and we are providing our staff with 19. Are there any questions?
Would you like to come up for the legal review?
So sorry.
Oh, you're good.
stole my thunder a little bit. So on the original waiver request was for Arkansas Code annotated 610-106A, which is the uniform school start date. Then I would recommend that the charter amend their amendment to include 610-106G3, which is, as I said it earlier, is the reporting deadline for when you have to notify the division of when you're going to transition to an alternates calendar. And I don't have any concerns with either of those waivers.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Wright McMurray?
I don't have any questions.
Mr. Scott?
Just one question. Just wondering about any feedback you may have received from families in regards to this particular change.
So our families are actually excited about this change, simply because this year we're going to school until about June 19th. Our new calendar will push this back to May 30th, which gets our students out, gives them the opportunity to have a little more summer, and then it also gives us the opportunity to run our summer program, which we've done in the past.
And I guess lastly is that this particular change, how do you feel it impacts your goals relative to performance?
I think it will assist us. I'll let Dr. Turker kind of speak to our thoughts around that.
Thank you for your question. We will continue with our Summer Institute program. That won't go away, but that will give us flexibility as well as the parents flexibility to enroll the students during that time frame. So we call it ALSI, Arkansas Lighthouse Summer Institute. During that time, they come to school just 8 till 3. During the morning period, we do project-based learning, and afternoon, we take them to beyond the wall experiences. But what we heard from our parents that, especially the parents and scholars who play any sports, during that time period, they have a lot of camps, and our current calendar doesn't allow them to attend those camps, and they are struggling to make a decision just because by law we adapted that calendar, and now they have to come to school because of the attendance purposes. So that is the biggest feedback. But our goals, just like Ms. Noel explained, we have 60 plus hours additional instructional time we're providing our scholars. We do have after-school program currently, and that will continue for our scholars that who want to participate and come to school. We will continue with our summer institute. So we will educational period of time during that given time period.
Thank you.
Mr. Davis?
No questions from me.
I have a question, but it's more of a clarification point. We have a year-round calendar currently, and just so that we have it on the record, what's the reason why you didn't choose the year-round calendar versus the alternate calendar?
So our current year-round calendar, we wanted to ensure that, so we've done quite a bit of research, and we went to schools around the nation who implemented year-round calendar. So the goal was teacher burnout. We provide our teachers a lot of the PDs beginning of the school year. We wanted to change that mindset, and we wanted to give 1 week off every after month PD time. So for us to ensure that hitting 180 instructional period, we had to extend our school year calendar. So that was the biggest reason that we had to push our current calendar all the way to June.
Yeah, and I guess I should clarify on why I asked about the year-round calendar. It's because they don't have to adhere to that start date, which is why you're needing to ask for this waiver.
Correct.
So-
Yes.
Gotcha. All right, Mr. Baldwin?
Yeah, really just a clarifying question. So the alternative calendar that we're talking about, is that, is the approval of that just for a one-time situation because of weather, or is this a permanent approval for, all years in the future?
So we are requesting both. We are requesting for the weather incident that happened this year, and then we're also requesting for future.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
just to kind of help you understand that a little bit, in terms of the request they're making for this year, that's sort of just so that they can get by with the inclement weather. For the coming years, that's a start date waiver that's being attached to the alternate calendar. And so that alternate calendar gets reported out in July, and so that would be when they will report that out. But we don't have to approve their alternate calendar. We're just approving their waiver of start date. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank
Okay.
you.
Dr. Moore?
My only question, similar to previous ones, like what was teacher feedback on this?
Teacher burnout, right? They want to have their June summertime off. We have done 5 district staff meetings, follow up with surveys, and our promise was for them to propose a calendar and get their feedback. Based on their feedback, 85% of them said that we wanted to end just like regular school district around us, and we went back to drawing board. We got their feedback. We had to make some changes, take some PDs off. We had more PDs, but still we're providing a lot more than what state requires, and we were able to bring it end of May 30th. And we on our next district staff meeting, we proposed the calendar again, 100% satisfaction. They were super happy to see that. And then we took it to our board, got accepted. Now I'm in front of you, before you, proposing for approval.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the panel? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move approval.
All right, I have a motion on the floor by Dr. Wright McMurray. Do I have a second?
A second.
All right, and a second by Mr. Scott. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the motion passes. Give us just a few moments to fill out the voting sheets.
Thank you.
All right, we'll start with Mr. Baldwin.
Yes, I voted in favor of the amendment request. I support the alternative calendar that the school is requesting.
All right, thank you. Dr. Wright McMurray?
I voted for. I support the Arkansas Lighthouse Charter Schools' request to amend their academic year calendar.
Mr. Scott?
I voted for the waiver requests of Arkansas Lighthouse Academies because of the supportive research and diligence effort to support the identified needs of the teachers, families, and the scholars they serve.
Mr. Davis?
I voted for. Due to support of the school's board, teachers, and families, I support the request for the charter to amend the school's calendar and reporting deadline, which will continue to operate within guidelines as established by the state of Arkansas.
And Dr. Moore?
I approve Arkansas Lighthouse Charter Schools' request to amend the start date and school calendar to best meet the needs of its students, families, and educators. Additionally, I applaud the commitment to provide professional development well beyond the state minimum requirement.
All right, thank you. And then I voted for the waiver to changing to an alternate calendar to make up for inclement weather, and the approval of a waiver of start date to ensure stakeholder feedback and best practices for students are kept at the forefront of the charter's educational model. So thank you very much and congratulations. All right, Ms. Summons.
Okay. The next school on our agenda is Cabot Panther Academy. They are requesting to add a new campus to be located within the Cabot School District at 407 South Polk Street in Cabot, Arkansas. Mr. Randolph is here as a representative for Cabot School District.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Randolph, if you'd stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right, thank you very much. You may begin.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, members of the panel, for letting me speak today and for hearing our requests. It's been almost 20 years ago that Cabot Panther Academy, formerly known as the Academic Center of Excellence, was created as a conversion charter school. And over the years, we've added students, we've added staff, we've changed programs, and we've changed a lot of things. And to be honest, we've changed with the time. And we have also, through that time period, served as an alternative learning environment, knowing that there are students that need something different beyond what's happening in the regular school and the regular classroom. Over the years, we've also subsequently developed another program called Cabot Learning Academy, which is set up for students that really need a lot more intensive emotional and behavioral support. And we've housed it at 2 different locations, actually 3, excuse me. And we just opened a new facility this January, brand new state-of-the-art facility for right about 60 students currently in that program. And what we've done is that we follow the same ALE protocols that we do at our other ALE campuses, both Cabot Panther Academy, along with our traditional ALE setting. And what we are trying to do is to unify all 3 of those ALEs under one charter authorization so that we can just kind of keep everything more in sync with everything that's happening. And so we've actually gone through and requested an LEA for that facility, because one thing that has been a little bit troublesome for us as a school district is all 60 students that are in that Cabot Learning Academy are still technically housed in their home schools. And so when it comes time for testing, when it comes time for grade reporting, it's just made things very complicated. And so our goal is that by having its own LEA, along with grouping it under this charter umbrella, that we can have everything in one spot and have one set process for everything that we're doing for those students. So that's why we're requesting that this new facility, under that new LEA, be included in our charter. Nothing would change with how we're serving students in that school. Nothing would change with how we're serving students at any other campus. This is more just for us, the way we see it is more of a logistics piece. But that's the request I present before you all today.
Thank you very much. Mr. Reynolds?
Because there's no waivers being requested, I didn't prepare a legal review, so I don't have any concerns with the request.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Wright McMurray, do you have any questions?
So just for my clarity, so our decision today is just to allow you to combine them under the one LEA?
So there would be so the district conversion would have a district LEA, the overarching one, and then there would be individual school LEAs within that. At least that's how I'm understanding
Correct.
the request.
Yes.
Okay, and then just the new facility that you're trying to utilize? Okay, right, thank you. I don't have any other.
Okay. Mr. Scott?
One of the questions I believe excuse me, has been answered already relative to your facilities utilization agreement. Just wondering about the impact of that relative to your operational budget. There's the documents go to a signed facilities utilization agreement, and I have not seen that. So
Yes, sir.
Could you just address the financials and impact on the operational budget?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So the district has already incurred all the costs for that, and that money does not in any way come from the current building or location for the charter. It is its own entity, and we've funded it as such, and so it will have no impact financially on the current organization or the processes of our charter.
Thank you.
Mr. Davis?
Yeah, no questions from me.
Okay. Mr. Baldwin?
So I guess I had similar questions to Mr. Scott, and what I'm looking at is a request, a facilities request, and maybe just explain that to me in a little bit more detail. So you tell us where you're operating out of right now, and are you moving to a new location? And I think what you just said was that the school already owns the new location. So is there going to be any cost to the charter? Are you going to allocate cost? Are there going to be more teachers? I mean, just kind of explain the details of the request to us a bit.
Yes, sir. So currently there are three, under the charter umbrella, I should say, there are two schools. There are two schools that we have, two locations that are district owned. Under the ALE, we have three. So two that are under the charter, and that third, the Cabot Learning Academy. All three of those facilities are district owned. We have our own staff there. And so there would be no additional impact on district costs or cost to the charter with this change. The only time we would add staff is if we have growth in student need, and then we would add staff to accommodate that. But that would still, even with the addition of 60 students from CLA, we're still well within our cap of our student enrollment. So the only thing that would create further cost would be if we needed to add staff members to accommodate more students to the program. So there's no additional costs that we would foresee from this.
Are you all moving, I guess I'm still confused, are you all moving all the students into one building, or are you going to operate three separate buildings?
We will continue to offer operate three separate buildings. So no movement of students whatsoever, sir.
Okay, so if you have this building operative already, why are we needing to approve a new campus? And that's my confusion is the application says we're approving a new campus, but it sounds like you're already operating in the building.
The request is that a new campus would be included under the charter, not that a new campus would be constructed. That is already completed.
Okay, I'm with you. Thank you for explaining that.
Currently, we're looking at a program, correct, and not an LEA, meaning that you don't have an LEA attached to it at all.
Not yet, no, sir.
Yeah.
But
And
this
so-
is part of that.
Right.
Mhm.
And so what this would do is would enable you to then bring it under
Correct.
the charter umbrella, give it a charter LEA number for that
Correct.
school. Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Moore?
So my question, and it may be related to sort of what you're talking about with the CLA, but I was mainly concerned about the grade changes going from serving 512 to K-12. Can you speak to that?
Yes, yeah, great question. And so currently CLA serves K-12, and so the additional of the K-4 to this is simply to accommodate the program that's already in place at CLA. That would be no changes to what's occurring at Cabot Panther Academy. There would be no additional students in that K-4 realm. This would just be to accommodate those students that are already within that school.
Okay, so you have no intentions of adding students below 5th grade to Cabot Panther Academy?
No, ma'am.
With ALE?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, the 1-to-15 ratio that we have at Cabot Learning Academy, and it has worked fantastically for our students, and so we don't want to do anything to change what's happening at Cabot Panther Academy.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
It's more of a statement than a question, but, so what I'm understanding is that programmatically, nothing's going to really change.
Correct.
It is just a matter of organizationally structuring it so that it's all under one district umbrella with the 3 individual school LEAs, and that's the only difference that we're looking at.
Correct.
Okay.
I do have an additional question
Mhm.
about that then. So, and I'm not familiar with what existing waivers you have for your charter, but this would mean that those waivers would then apply to CLA, which currently does not have those waivers.
I would say potentially they could apply, but we would not be applying those waivers.
Okay, that was, so
Mhm.
that's not your intent.
No, ma'am.
But by us doing this, that would open the door for that.
Okay.
Okay. I do have concerns about that, but I don't know what those waivers are, so it may be a moot point. Do you have teacher licensure waivers for your charter?
We do, yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that would mean that for those high-need students in K-4, that potentially there would be unlicensed teachers. So that gives me a little bit of pause. That's all.
No, I would agree, and I would be happy to entertain anything that would prevent that waiver from going into place for that location.
This reminds me of something we did before,
Yes.
where we started running into those issues, so.
Go ahead, Mr. Scott.
So, from a messaging standpoint, first of all, thank you for the effort to identify the special needs of the population there. From a messaging standpoint, there's a charter that exists, and then there's also the traditional public school that exists there. So if you can just help me understand, if I'm a parent and I want to decide, am I going to Cabot Public School versus the charter, how do I better understand my options?
Sure, so that's a great question. I will tell you what we greet all new families with is all these students are students of Cabot Public Schools. And so when you come into our school district, we want to enroll you as a student of our district and make sure that you're getting what you need. And then if we determine, as in families are included in that process, if we feel that there is a different location or a change of placement that's needed, we're going to start to have those conversations. And again, for those secondary students, it's fairly common for students that apply to go to Cabot Panther Academy, either in a hybrid setting or a completely digital setting, that there's been a lot of dialogue with families before that. And it's the same way with Cabot Learning Academy. Again, we have 60 students, if you think about K-12 currently. That's out of just over 10,000 students that we have enrolled K-12 in the district. And so this is not a large group of students. And what we recognize in families, and we have conversations with them, that this is not something they choose to, I want to seek out that building. It's something that we feel, and through conversations, that we need to look at something different than the traditional school setting after they've been in that traditional school setting. And so that's just over a period of time, sir, that we have conversations with our families and with staff members.
Any outreach effort to community partners and any particular feedback from them?
In regards to this?
Yes.
To be honest, no, sir, not in the combination of it, because the community feedback we've had and with parents and students at these locations is they're very comfortable and happy where they are. And again, as this is just an operation, more of a behind the scenes change, there wasn't really any impact to those students that we foresaw, but I understand your concerns completely. Dr. Moore.
Mr. Davis, did you have a question?
No, I was just gonna say those concerns are real, and I would agree with that. So this is now more than just a kind of organizational, structural change. Because now you mentioned 60 students, right? So
Yes.
potentially 60 students, and, you know, how they are operating will then have an impact on the overall student population of the district without going through the traditional process around waivers. So I appreciate you pinpointing that and recognizing that. So my question would be, is there some way to do this without having those waivers apply. And I don't,
So, Mr. Reynolds?
I can honestly say I'm stumped. Because the ALE program's under the district LEA now. If you approve the amendment, the ALE program moves under the charter LEA. And whatever waivers apply to the charter LEA then apply to the ALE program. I mean, legally speaking, the CAP has the authority to limit waivers in scope and duration, but then it really turns into a practical problem rather than, I mean, a legal problem. I mean, that's why I have no legal issue with it, legal concerns with it, but that's really, from a policy perspective, that's up to y'all.
But from a practical standpoint, notes could be attached to those waivers, which state
Sure.
they would only be utilized.
For the Cabot Panther Academy and not the Cabot Learning Academy, yeah.
I would be much more comfortable with that if that was an option.
Yeah.
So is that, sorry, I didn't jump in. Is that done here, or is it done in a separate process? I guess that's what I would need to be clear on before I vote for or against something.
It's done through the master waiver spreadsheet, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So the master waiver spreadsheet, technically, it could be completed without those waivers being put in for that particular school, that
Right.
particular LEA.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain district standards which, because it's a district level standard, it may or may not apply. That's where we get into a tricky situation. And that's something we'd have to look at logistically. Maybe we put in notes on those particular standards stating that it doesn't apply to those.
The Cabot Learning Academy.
Right.
Okay.
It would be a manual process.
Right.
But at least for the school level standards, they just wouldn't be input into
Right.
the system.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I guess I still have the question, is this the best way to do what they're wanting to do?
Well-
Because it seems as if we're gonna, like, say, okay, today, and then there's gonna need to be
Right.
some back-end things that will need to take place. Is there a cleaner way to do it?
And on top of that, what's the purpose then, I guess? It's like, if you're not gonna use the waivers, why do these need to be part of the charter?
I go back to be honest with you, and we're in the midst of testing season right now. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that goes with those students to make sure they're coded appropriately and moving things around. So versus if we had them under one location, they're still, at the end of the day, as they're classified ALE students, all those things are going to go back to their home school. But we're not juggling schedules and rosters and everything beforehand to get those students set up. But would it make it easier if I was to withdraw this from this month and to come back with an alternate one that said all current waivers under the charter would not apply to this, or?
So I think the cleanest process, and I don't think that, I guess if you're not gonna apply the waivers, then we could do a new charter, meaning district conversion charter, but that's gonna take a while.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah, because to answer your question, Dr. Moore, the waivers that are at issue, the Cabot Panther Academy already has, and they're attached to its LEA number.
Right.
So if you move the ALE program from the district to the charter, then those waivers would attach to, so without some sort of notes or, action from the CAP limiting the scope of the waivers to the Cabot Panther Academy, there's really no way to get around, no other way to get around to that
And I
issue.
will say there is a precedent for putting notes in that waivers are specific to particular areas. It's just that when it goes into the system, it's gonna have to be manually checked. And so that's just understanding it from the back end. There's not a real clean way to do that.
but to be fair, that's not our
No,
concern.
no, it's not. It's not.
No, that's the,
Like,
yeah,
that's
that's
not
the,
concern.
yeah, that's the divisions.
Charter authority.
Yeah,
I mean, we,
Right.
yeah, our duty and obligation to ensure that we are not extending, without having a clear understanding. So I would support this coming back, and having a clear understanding around what, what charter amendments we're talking about, and what it would, what the notes, what it might look like in the notes. And yeah, I mean, that's something for the department to work out on the back end.
And additionally, if that's going to happen, I would appreciate just a better understanding. I know you explained a little bit about things that are going on behind the scene, but really like why CLA needs to be part of the charter, like what's not working now with it being part of Cabot School District, general LEA. So that would be interesting. And I do want to applaud ACE because, oh, not ACE, sorry, that shows my age, Cabot Panther Academy, because my son finished through there and would not have graduated otherwise, and is a successful adult now. So I know that a lot of times students need a different learning environment to best meet their needs, and I appreciate those opportunities for students.
And then another piece of information that would be helpful is, of those 60 students, how many of those students are or percentage of those students are receiving special education services? Because that helps us to kind of think through that as well, as far as vulnerable populations, et cetera. Any other questions or comments? Mr. Reynolds?
And I'm happy to pull the waivers that Cabot Panther Academy has, just so you can see what waivers we're actually talking about.
I think that would help.
Yeah,
That will be helpful.
Thank you.
All right.
do we need an official
Yes.
withdrawal?
So, for the record, do you want to withdraw and come back next month?
So I would like to withdraw our application, or amendment, excuse me, application, and with your permission, work with Mr. Reynolds and others to make sure that we have the best packet to present to you all next month.
I appreciate that. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Bet.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Summons.
Okay, next on the agenda is Founders Classical Academies of Arkansas, and they're requesting to waive Arkansas Code 610-106G3, and Mr. Felton will be speaking on behalf of Founders.
Thank you very much. All right, will all those who plan on speaking on behalf of the charter please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm Dennis Felton, serve as State Director, Premier High Schools and Virtual Learning for Responsive Arkansas. I want to say, I don't see anybody on Zoom, but Ms. Susan Provenza should be joining me as well. But you'll see here in the packet for our inclement weather calendar waiver request for Founders Classical Academies of Arkansas. By submitting this waiver, you see that we've indicated the alternate school calendar submission, which includes the minutes that's outlined in your packet as well. And so if you look on the calendar submission in the middle, under alternate calendar that has 1,068 instructional hours. If you look, we have it broken down from kindergarten to second grade, 390 minutes a day times 174 days, which has the total amount of hours. Going down to grades 3-4, 405 minutes per day times 174 days, which equals 1,174.5 hours. And then you see for grades 5 through 12, which will have 415 minutes per day times 174 days, which equals 1,203 3.5 hours, which all meets the alternate calendar. This also has been approved by our local board as well.
All right, Mr. Reynolds?
So this is the same waiver request that Lighthouse did. It's 610-106 G3, which is the deadline by which school district or charter school has to submit to the division when they're going to switch to an alternate calendar. So I don't have any concerns with this waiver.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Wright McMurray?
No questions.
Mr. Scott?
No questions.
Mr. Davis?
None from me.
Mr. Baldwin?
No questions.
Dr. Moore?
None, thank you.
All right, if there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I move to approve the request for change of calendar.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion passes. Give us just a few minutes, and we'll fill out our voting sheets, and then get back to you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll start with Mr. Baldwin.
Yes, I voted in favor of the alternative calendar as requested by the Founders Classical Academies of Arkansas, and believe that this change advances student learning for this charter program.
Thank you. Dr. Wright McMurray?
I voted for. I support Founders Classical Academy of Arkansas's request to transition to an alternate academic calendar for academic year 2024.
Thank you. Mr. Scott?
I voted to support the event request of Founders Classical Academy because of the diligence to provide adequate student learning opportunities for the students they serve.
Mr. Davis?
I support the request for the charter to amend the school calendar, which will continue to operate within guidelines as established by the state of Arkansas.
Dr. Moore?
I voted for. I support the request for Founders Classical Academy to amend the school calendar.
And I voted for. I support the amendment to the calendar due to inclement weather in order to provide the best educational experience for students. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're going to take just a 5-minute break, and then we'll come right back. All right, we'll call the meeting back to order. Ms. Summons, if you're ready.
Okay, we have Premier High School of Arkansas, and they're requesting to merge the Premier High School of North Little Rock with the Premier High Schools of Arkansas Charter. The North Little Rock campus will keep all the waivers currently held by the Premier High School of Arkansas Charter. They also want to obtain a waiver for Arkansas Code 617203 F2AI, which is the minimum teacher compensation schedule. The waiver currently exists in the Premier High School of North Little Rock, and they're also requesting that the Premier High School of Arkansas has identified locations for the Premier High School of Russellville and Premier High School of Fayetteville. And we also have Mr. Dennis, who will be presenting on behalf of Premier High School.
All right, thank you very much. You'll stand and raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you very much. You may begin.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
While they're getting that loaded, I'm Dennis Felton, State Director, Premier High Schools and Virtual Learning. Also, I think have remotely Ms. Katie Stevens, who's our Executive Director of Finance here in Arkansas, as well as Ms. Marla Pearson, who's our State Director of Special Services. I have here in person with me Mr. Curtis Shack, who's our Executive Director of Student Information Systems, as well as Ms. Rhonda Bradford, our Superintendent of Responsive Aid Arkansas. Do y'all have a copy of the presentation?
Yes.
I just want to say, I don't want to, I know we've had technical difficulties this morning. So just an overview, the things we're asking for today is one, to merge Premier High School of North Little Rock with Premier High Schools of Arkansas. If you all remember, we had these conversations several months ago and making this merger. So we're excited about being able to present that to you today. Also, if you recall, last fall, summerish, we received a waiver of Arkansas, the indicated code 617-2403, in regards to the minimum teacher salary and the 80% that has to be spent. And so that waiver is in our North Little Rock charter. We're just trying to bring it over to our Premier High Schools of Arkansas. And then we want to notify you all the two sites that we found for Premier High School Russellville and Premier High School of Fayetteville that'll open up this August. So once again, just revisiting, you guys know Premier High School, we continue to serve a unique population of students, and our mission is to provide hope for students through a caring, master-based learning environment where we promote a free society and cultivate moral academic excellence. We continue to serve students who are seeking smaller, personalized learning environments, students who become disengaged from high school, students who are at risk of dropping out of high school, students who are currently working, students that are currently parents as well, and students that are engaged in our juvenile justice system. If you look at the next slide, it has our structure of schools that we have here in Premier High Schools of Arkansas, and you see Little Rock, Fort Smith, Texarkana, Online, Russellville, and Fayetteville. Merging Premier High School of North Little Rock with Premier High Schools of Arkansas would add Premier High School of North Little Rock under Premier High Schools of Arkansas. And so with that merger, we would still only have two districts at that point, which would be Premier High School of Springdale and Premier High Schools of Arkansas. And then hopefully we'll see you guys around the same time next year to make that last merger. You see on the next slide, we have the new district structure. Okay, we're working now. that new district structure that we were talking about that has Premier High School North Little Rock in it. On this side, just giving you guys a snapshot of our current enrollment in all of our campuses and what that will look like when they're all merged together. You also see where we've kind of got an enrollment cap breakdown for each building as well that supports our overall enrollment cap. So looking at our waiver of 617-2403, we feel like in meeting this, as you guys have previously approved and we voted on, would definitely impact the educational programs that we have. This waiver right now is carrying in Premier High Schools of North Little Rock. And so just want to just kind of revisit, there have been no legal concerns in the past with this waiver. And we continue to pay our teachers the minimum that's been set forth in the Learns Act, and as well as it's helped us with retention and recruitment as well and being competitive. So looking at our new sites, we're excited about Premier High School Russellville and Fayetteville open up this August. Community has been very responsive and very inclusive as we're having this additional educational offering. And so in Russellville, we're looking at 620 South Arkansas Avenue. In Russellville, Arkansas, there you kind of see our lease term that we're looking at. That just gives you an exterior of the building, image of the building as well. And we're looking at like 3760 as far as square feet. In Fayetteville, we're excited about being located at 2853 North College Avenue. We've signed a 3-year lease at that location and looking forward to serving the Fayetteville community. Just kind of sharing with you all some timelines of what we kind of are in that process. We're excited about over the next few months as we get those schools ready and be able to serve students and parents in those communities. And so, of course, there'll be some permitting going on. There'll be some renovations occurring as well. There'll be some site preparations, equipment, things like that. We're ordering curriculum, the marketing, the communications, the parent information meetings, working with individuals like the Chamber of Commerce just to spread the mission and vision in this new educational entity. And so just revisit it again, we're just asking to merge Premier High School of North Little Rock with Premier High Schools of Arkansas. We're asking to keep our waiver that we have with Premier High School of North Little Rock and bring that over to Premier High Schools of Arkansas. And just excited to let you guys know the 2 sites we have for Russellville and Fayetteville. At Premier, we continue to keep students at the forefront of our mind and every decision that we're trying to do and continue to be responsive to the communities in Arkansas. At this time, I'll take any questions.
Thank you very much. Mr. Reynolds?
All right, so like Mr. Felton said, the charter seeking to waive Arkansas Code 617-2403 F2AI. The code specifically allows the division and the CAP to waive this requirement if meeting the requirement would negatively impact student safety or the fiscal stability or educational programs offered by open enrollment public charter school. And like Mr. Felton said, Premier High Schools North Little Rock currently holds this waiver. They're just seeking to apply it to the broader Premier High Schools of Arkansas charter.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Wright McMurray?
One other thing, I neglected to say, I did check all of the waivers that Premier High Schools, like this is the only waiver that Premier High Schools doesn't have already.
So you've cross-referenced?
I cross-referenced,
okay. All right, thank you very much. Dr. Wright McMurray?
Thank you for the information, and thank you, Mr. Reynolds, for helping us on that piece so we don't revisit here. Just for my clarification, the other schools that are not included in the discussion today, is it because they're not up date-wise or for review? Or
so Premier High School Springdale is the only one not associated, and we still have that school kind of running through a grant cycle.
Okay, so it's for that purpose is why we're not hearing for that one.
That is correct.
Okay. And then I was trying to look through to get a sense of where your caps are and then the enrollment numbers you currently have. I was trying to get I think I was actually having to look through the packet for that.
Here I have, this is the current average daily membership by school. Looking at the current year, if you look at the next slide, this is kind of where I have the cap breakdown. So I would make a guesstimate we're operating about 50% capacity. So that's why we're not asking any cap increase. We want to continue to grow in our cap, and then when we reach that number, then we'll seek for an enrollment cap increase.
Okay, and so you're saying like right now you're for like that, for what you are allowed to enroll and what you have enrolled, you're at about 50% of that?
That is correct.
And so can you just speak a little bit on how you are planning on working on that growth of getting those numbers to where you are, you know, a little bit more than 50% of that enrollment cap?
Yes, I will. So we put together marketing campaigns for each one of our schools. A lot is driven through community outreach. It's driven through business and community partnerships, as well as partnerships with traditional school districts. And so that we expect our school leaders to be visible in the community, to be engaged in community events. We expect them to host parent informational meetings, to be able to educate the community about the school. We expect them to host open house, to invite those community members and leaders in the school as well. We also look at things like social media. We do radio advertising. We do publication advertising. We do billboard advertising, as well as we host enrollment fairs every summer, which give parents opportunity to tour the school, to learn about the education opportunity, to meet staff, and as well as to be more informed about educational choices. And so we know this population is unique as well. And so this is typically not the kids that are hanging out, easy accessible. And so we have to work with nonprofits, and we work with juvenile justice system, parole officers, judges, to communicate them about this education opportunity as well. And so I think when we hit all those points and everything's going well, and we're able to meet our enrollment goal.
Okay, all right, that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Scott?
Thank you. Mr. Felton, I'd like to first preface this by saying I appreciate the effort and the mission that you have as an organization to go after a targeted population that typically is kind of challenged. So a few questions I have initially are more on the new sites. Facilities-wise, there's a facilities utilization agreement, and it speaks to numbers and numbers on the footage side, square footage side, as well as on the lease side, but it wasn't signed. Is there a signed facilities utilization agreement available now?
There is. As you guys know, there's a deadline as far as when I get this information in to you all. During the time I had those, I guess, going through the signature process, but yes, those are both, I do have signed facility utilization agreements for both sites and signed leases.
Okay, that's helpful. So the signed lease would speak to, on the financial side, the lease agreement, but is there a plan relative to construction, the first day of students stepping through, readiness-wise? Could you just help us understand the readiness of that facility, assuming, I believe you said you're targeting this year?
That is correct. Yes, so we've engaged with contractors Kinko. The timeline they've given us is 10 to 12 weeks on the job. So we anticipate these sites being ready as early as July 15th and trying to start school as early as August 6th. August 6th. So we do not see any concerns with it being ready, just re-emphasizing that these are satellite campuses. So the sites that we've chose, they are pretty much ready to go. We have some minor renovations we're doing on those sites. So it's not, I guess kind of in the past, we've did some more extensive jobs on some sites that are about 7,000 to 8,000 square feet. These jobs are only gonna take, like they're saying, 10 to 12 weeks. Very minimum renovations because of the sites that we choose are pretty much ready to go.
Well, that's good. Step us through the landscape of those facilities. We're very familiar with your current locations. Help us understand relative to your mission and these particular locations. Describe the neighborhood. I appreciate the pictures,
Yeah.
areas.
So one part of the work that we do in working in this CSP grant world is trying to identify opportunity zones. And so we look at either the IRS and the Census Bureau has opportunity zone maps for each community. And so when we're looking at where we want to put the school, we want to make sure we're in opportunity zones. So that was part of why we chose these locations. And also we're looking at certain things that want to check the box. So is there sufficient parking? You know, is it safe? Is it accessible to parents and students in the community? And so when we go back into the mission and vision, we want to be most accessible to parents and students that we can serve. We want to have a facility that's safe, a facility that can handle what we're trying to do as far as the educational offering. And the only difference is these are satellite campuses, so they're just smaller. But the learning environment will look very identical, the school, to every other premier we have, just on a smaller scale.
I like hearing the safety portion of that. I don't want to make an assumption. They're all one level? Is there?
Oh, that is correct.
Okay. No elevators?
No.
Okay. Describe the engagement of the families. Why that location, and why do you believe that you'd be successful there?
So engagement with the family's been really good. And you look at communities, let's just go community by community. So when you look at Russellville, Russellville does not have a lot of educational options. They have Russellville High School, and so my engagement with those parents and community members has they've been excited about this school that has this specific mission and vision, and it's not as big as Russellville High School amongst 1,500 kids. For those that are familiar with the Fayetteville area, Fayetteville, once again, has a pretty nice sized high school. I think they serve over 3,000 students. And so when I've engaged with parents and community members in that community, once again, having a school of this size that offers this type of offering to get kids caught back up or get kids back engaged, they've been very receptive to it as well. In choosing those sites, I think there's a consideration of what educational opportunities that students have in those communities. There's also the engagement with community individuals seeking to learn more about what we do. And so, we celebrate 11 years here in Arkansas coming to 2024. And I think that as people across the state in these communities see and hear about the work that we do, it's just become even more receptive to, this community could use a school like this. And so, I'm blessed to stand here. I mean, we're talking about 8 premier high schools. I remember 11 years ago, right? You come meet me in Little Rock, and we had 1 premier high school. And so to see these communities pour into these schools and to see the traditional school districts even partnering with these schools, to me, it's premier high school just finding its niche in Arkansas and the communities that it can serve.
I have a few more questions, but I'll come back later.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Well, so thank you, and understanding the challenges that you have in regards to serving this particular population, can you share what you believe would be critical success factors in moving the needle, improving when it comes to school improvement in those targeted areas?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, it starts with the school leader. These are small schools. And so it starts with the school leader, and the school leader having a mission and vision that's aligned to what we're trying to do and the things that we present to you all. It's that school leader hiring competent and qualified staff members that are carrying out that mission and vision as well. We've been hanging out a lot with data here lately. And, no matter if the school is this small, it's important. And we think it's almost, it gives us somewhat an advantage of being this small to make sure that we're having data-driven conversations around students, and then looking at some of those things that are not necessarily present in algebra and biology and science. And so we have students that, yes, they're in the juvenile justice system. We have students that are parents. We have students that are living in poverty. We have students that are homeless. And so, how do we address all those things and put students in a situation that way when they come to premier high school, they are able to actually focus on a high school diploma. And so I think it's data-driven decisions, It's looking at that data very frequently to make sure that what we are doing is working, and we continue to do that. At the same time, looking at those things that are not working, and let's stop doing those things that are not working. And then, because we've grown across the state, we've seen huge gains in the collaboration. You know, it's one thing to be one premier high school principal and you're sitting there trying to figure this out, what you're talking about. But then when you're sitting amongst 8 premier high school principals all across this state who their community looks different, right? Maybe even their students look a little bit different. But this educational piece that we're talking about, how do you re-engage the disengage? You know, how do you adequately monitor student progress is kind of where we're hanging out in this collaboration piece. So the collaboration has helped as well and build the capacity.
Thank you. My last question is just one assurance that, getting back to the facilities piece, that whether or not it's the lease or any upfront work that's required, we need to see a signed agreement, facilities utilization agreement, number one. It won't have any impact on responsibility of the state, obviously. It's stated in the facilities utilization agreement. But the work to be done to make it ready day one would not have an adverse effect upon the operational budget, correct?
That is correct. And I'll get those signed leases to you. I mean, those signed facility utilization agreements to you all.
Thank you. Mr. Davis?
Yeah, no questions from me.
No questions, thank you.
Mr. Baldwin?
Yes, thank you. My question really goes back to the waiver that you're requesting. And I guess really it's a clarifying question for me. And I'm looking at your campus operating budget that you presented to us, and it shows 3 different scenarios. One is with the meeting minimum salary requirements and receiving LEARNS funding. And then then another column says meeting minimum salary requirements, not receiving LEARNS funding. And then the final is meeting minimum salary requirements, receiving LEARNS funding, and meeting 80% requirement. So I guess if you could, for my benefit, explain what that 80% requirement is. I'm not aware of what that is. That's just my lack of understanding, but it makes a big difference on your bottom line, which I think is why you're requesting the waiver. So could you walk us through that?
Yes, so I'm just referencing Commissioner Memo FI 9-23046. It's May 22nd, 2023, where it indicates that the district should utilize an amount of state funds equal to 80% or more allocated for school level personnel salaries according to the adequacy funding matrix recommended by the Senate Committee on Education and the House Committee on Education for the previous year for teacher salary and teacher raises. Mr. Baldwin, and looking at those 3 scenarios, as you can kind of see, one does say meeting the minimum salary requirement, which we want to do. We want to continue to meet the minimum salary requirement, and we do want to receive LEARNS funding. That allows us to be able to pay the minimum salary for teachers and be competitive in recruitment and retention. If you look at the second option, it meets the minimum requirements, but that does not allow us to receive LEARNS funding, not receiving it. And then the third option is us meeting the salary requirements and trying to meet the 80% requirement and receiving LEARNS funding. And you see how that has a significant impact on our budget, trying to do all of them.
So you got right now, your current state is that first column.
There you go. That's correct. That's where we want to hang out.
And that's where you want to stay. And you are paying the teachers the $50,000 minimum.
That is correct.
Okay. I'm still not sure I understand the 80% funding, but I do understand where you're at right now and that you want to stay there. And this is currently a waiver that you have. You just want to extend it over when you merge the schools?
That is correct.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Mr. Baldwin. Do we have any other questions from the panel? No? All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move approval of the request.
All right, we have a motion by Dr. Wright McMurray. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Davis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Was that an opposed, Mr. Baldwin, or in favor?
No, I'm in favor.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear.
I was just slow.
No, you're good. All right. All right, then, the motion passes. Thank you very much, and give us some time to fill out our voting sheets.
Thank y'all.
All right, Mr. Baldwin?
Yes, I'm in favor of the three requests from Premier High School to merge the North Little Rock campus with the Arkansas Charter, to receive the waiver that's currently held by the North Little Rock School for that merged charter, and to move forward with the new school locations in Russellville and Fayetteville. I think that each of these actions benefit the Premier program and promote quality education.
Thank you very much. Dr. Wright McMurray?
I voted for, and I said that I support Premier High Schools of Arkansas's waiver and amendment request.
Thank you. Mr. Scott?
I voted for the amendment and waiver requests of Premier High Schools, Arkansas, because of the diligence effort to ensure the operational needs of the schools were met and the effort to engage and recruit quality teachers to support the mission of the organization.
Thank you. Mr. Davis?
I voted for to create organizational efficiencies and legal compliance. I support the request to merge Premier's North Little Rock Campus LEA with Premier Arkansas's LEA, and a waiver to comply with the LEARNS Act utilization of funds.
And Dr. Moore?
I support Premier High School of Arkansas's request to restructure LEA such that North Little Rock campus is under the Premier of Arkansas Charter LEA and the waiver request associated. I acknowledge the site selection and plans for additional campus locations in Fayetteville and Russellville as previously approved.
And then I voted for the amendment. The structure will bring greater efficiencies to the overall charter. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you all.
Congratulations.
Just as a reminder, the signed FUA.
We got you.
All right.
Ms. Summons?
The last school on our agenda today is Lisa Academy. They are amending its charter to include a waiver of Arkansas Code 618-213B for all Lisa schools, and following that, we'll have the data review by Lisa. We have Superintendent Dr. Boldrick here this morning with his team.
Thank you very much. Will all those who plan on speaking on behalf of the charter please stand and raise your right hand? Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right, thank you very much. You may begin.
Good morning, respected panel members. This Academy is formally requesting a waiver for this code as a result of transitioning to an alternate calendar required by the recent snow days. And we don't have intention for alternate calendar for next school year, just for this school year to make up our snow days. And we add hours to our, after school, so to make up some of the days. So we are kindly requesting this waiver for all Lisa schools.
All right, thank you. Mr. Reynolds?
So like Dr. Broger said, they're requesting a waiver of 618-213B, which is just another reporting requirement for school number of attendance. So I don't have any concerns with this waiver.
So essentially, we're waiving the reporting requirement and switching to an alternate.
Right, right.
Okay. All right, thank you. Dr. Wright McMurray, any questions?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Mr. Scott?
This time.
Mr. Davis? Okay. Mr. Baldwin?
No questions.
Okay. Dr. Moore?
No.
Okay. There are no questions. I'll entertain a motion.
I move approval of the request.
We have a motion by Dr. Wright McMurray. Do we have a second?
A second.
And a second by Mr. Scott. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, any opposed? Motion passes. Let us fill out our voting sheets real quick and then we'll get back with you. All right, Mr. Baldwin?
Yes, I support the amendment request to adopt an alternative calendar for all Lisa Academy schools.
Thank you. Dr. Wright McMurray?
I voted for. I support Lisa Academy's request to transition to an alternative calendar for academic year 2024. Sorry.
Thank you. Mr. Scott?
I voted to support the amendment request for Lisa Academy because it provides a meaningful approach to compliance and targeted performance improvement for the students they serve.
Thank you. Mr. Davis?
I support Lisa Academy's request as presented for an alternative school calendar.
Dr. Moore?
I support Lisa Academy's request for an alternate school calendar due to snow days.
All right, and I voted for the addition of the waiver of the reporting date to amend the school calendar due to inclement weather and in order to better serve the needs of the faculty, staff, and students of Lisa Academy. All right, thank you very much, and I won't make you stand again to testify. I'll have you come ahead and do your data presentation.
Good morning again. As you know, Lisa Academy is serving in 11 schools, over 4,000 students, and we are here to present data review for West Elementary. Our Senior Director of Academics, Dr. Agamaltia, and Principal Ms. Hula, they are going to present the presentation.
Can you get the presentation? Okay, quick introduction for myself. I'm Dr. Agam Altiev. I'm a Senior Director of Academics, previous math coordinator, math coach, math teacher in charter school system. And Ms. Hula, you want to introduce yourself?
Thank you for having us. Crystal Hula, the principal of Lisa West Elementary School.
Okay. I'm going to do a quick district overview, and Ms. Hula will dive deep in West Elementary data. So, purpose of Lisa Academy Charter School is to provide learning environment that engage all students through innovative and personalized approach with focus on STEM, support students, staff, and community through collaborating and caring environment, enable students to achieve academic success in STEM fields through various competitions, community involvement, sport, art, language, and other after-school clubs. Our mission is to provide academic rigorous college prep program, partnering with students, families, and community, and guide all students in gaining knowledge, skill, and attitude necessary to wreck their life, improve diverse society, and excel in academically rich learning environment. The vision of Lisa Academy is prep students for education and workplace of their choice, highly encouraging, STEM pathways. The student-focused approach will lead students becoming productive and responsible citizens and even Nobel laureates. Our pillars are learn, innovate, support, and achieve. Quick history, Lisa Academy first established in 2004 as a West Middle School, 6-8 campus. In 2008, North campuses opened. In 2016, received 13-year charter renewal, and West Elementary campus opened, and North Middle High expanded, West High School expanded. In 2019, we moved to Northwest Arkansas, the Springdale campus, and 21, 22, 23, hybrid, Rogers, and Fayetteville campuses opened. These are the current schools. At West campuses, we have West High, West Middle, West Elementary. At North, we have North Middle High and North Elementary. And Northwest Arkansas, we have 3 campuses, Springdale, Fayetteville, Rogers, and we also have a hybrid online/in-person school. So student number grew from 2017 from 2,100 to over 400 currently. Staff grew almost, almost 500 staff from around 200 back in 2017. This is the current plan as is. So soon, hopefully, we'll be opening Rogers, Bentonville, in next school year, not this school year, and hope to open Fayetteville Middle High School. So at Arkansas, Lisa Academy has been, well known with various participations in any fields. It could be, the best high school in Little Rock, the North High School, number 4 in Arkansas, and top growth, the most diverse student body, and continuously grow the enrollment. Our current school ratings, we have 1 A school, our new campus. We have 4 B schools in last ESSA ratings, which is half of our schools are A and B rated. In participations, we are really proud of getting our students do most they can. We have some of our middle high school students who finish the year with multiple trophies with various, call it social studies, call it STEM, call it engineering, call it leadership. And these are some of our highlights. 90+ college acceptance and 95+ graduation rate, high STEM focused. So even though we are STEM focused, our students, we push them to go to multiple places, especially with our quiz ball. We have been, state champion past years. I don't recall, but I know more than before COVID, pre-COVID, let me call it that way. And in diversity, and again, we are serving the most diverse students in the state of Arkansas with 60+% free reduced, 73, almost 75%, 3/4 minority, and around 50 language spoken as of this school year, which is very impressive. And from here on, I'll let Ms. Hula talk about West Elementary.
Thank you, and thank you again. Just to give you guys a little bit of information, I did start with West Elementary as an assistant principal in the 2016-17 year. So I have served as an administrator there for 7 of the 8 years because I went to hybrid for 1. All right, so you can see here, Lisa Academy, you all know, is a very diverse school district, and our campus in general, too, is extremely diverse, and we're extremely excited about that. I have team members that are watching us here today. Everybody's excited to get this going. You can see here, too, that West Elementary, we've got a 70% free and reduced lunch participation, 79% minority. Special education is 17%, and ELL is 28%, and we'll talk more about that. All right, so we knew we had a call to action because we obviously wanted better test scores for our kids. We knew that we had a lot of work to do. So initially, we started with the school improvement plan at the end of last year using the data that we had in WEA. And then, obviously, we updated it when we got our ESSA data. We, again, have updated it because we've been working on the Highly Effective Schools application as well as Peer 2.0. So that has all been added into our school improvement plan. So it is a working document, a live document. Again, I'll mention that we do have the high needs population. And when we really kind of looked at this, we knew that our kids needed something different, something special. We needed our teachers to be very well equipped to work with them. You can see here the percentages of students that identify within these each subgroups. Okay, so when we got our ESSA score, we did have some things to celebrate. We did see an increase in overall value-added growth. You can see here 3,500ths. We had an increase in SQSS too from a lot of work that we did with attendance. However, due to our achievement dropping slightly, we wound up dropping by 0.6 of a point, which dropped us down to a D because we were barely a C. So, again, we knew we had a lot of work to do. We did see some success here as well. You can see with our Black African American subgroup, we saw some growth here. We were a little bit above the state. This actually gives you a little bit more information because it shows us over 3 years some of the little growth that we've seen. So we knew that there's There's some major changes that have to shift with instruction within our classrooms. And again, this is just another way of looking at the different scores between 22 to 23, where we did see growth in math, value-added growth, content, and ELP, English language proficiency. SQSS, we did work here, a lot of work with attendance. Some things I'll mention: home visits, very popular with Lisa Academy. Conferences, obviously, meetings, communication. We use school status now. I think that's been a huge tool for us with communicating with families. Obviously, holding events. Something I'll point out is the tornado March 31st went right behind our school. It was pretty big. We were in the middle of dismissal, and obviously we had a lot of families that were affected by this. So transportation was difficult for some families. Some of them lost their cars. But we still grew in SQSS because of the work we did for attendance. So let's get into the work, because this is the big part. We developed our SMART goals based on, we knew we were shifting from ACT Aspire to Atlas, so obviously we had to just kind of look at percentages here. We're looking at math and reading, trying to increase by 5%, math and reading value-added growth, trying to increase by 3%. And then in science, we know that that's coming. We're excited about that. We're wanting to increase by 15%. We are, as I mentioned, we just submitted our highly effective schools accreditation application yesterday, in fact. So we're crossing our fingers that went well. We worked with Dr. Guevara from Arkansas South. Yeah, I can't recall the name all of a sudden. Southern Arkansas University. That's right, SAU. Sorry, I've said it a million times, I promise. Okay, and then Peer as well. We've been working with them. We're very excited with the work that we've been doing with them. It's awesome. So here, we identified some areas of growth for us. We knew that Tier 1 instruction was our biggest area. We needed to improve here. We needed to find out what was going on in the classrooms, what were the issues, how can we support the teachers, what is it that we need to help them with. We developed some professional development this year as a district and as a campus. That's been really, really good. Curriculum support and professional development in curriculum was extremely important too. We've started PLCs a couple of years ago, and we're trying to master those now. We want collective efficacy. We want everybody on the same page with the same beliefs. And then something that we're going to do for next year is a book study. Well, we'll do this like a dissection of the book is what I'll call it, of the new art and science of teaching, because we want everyone to have a clear vision on what our model of instruction looks like. And these are just links for you guys. You're welcome to scroll through those if you have not already done so. This is some of the data that we're currently using. All right, and so one of the questions was, are you achieving your goals? And so I thought, okay, let me pull a little bit of data here. One of them was reading. We saw a decrease in the number of students that were in low achievement or mid-low achievement. I'm not recalling the right word here. I apologize. Low and low average is what I'm trying to say. We saw a decrease, and what this is the third graders from last year, and then those fourth graders this year. So essentially it is the same students other than those few that come and go. And you can see here just visually, we did see more students achieving, less students in our red. And again, I did this for fourth grade into fifth grade. Here, this graph just shows it to you in a different way. Unfortunately, I wrote fourth grade twice on there. I apologize. It's the same data. So you can just see the difference. Third grade is an area that we are really focusing on quite a bit. Okay, so some of the innovations, as you know, we've all mentioned it with Lisa Academy STEM. Obviously, we're going to continue our after-school programs. We've got in-school boot camps going for Atlas. We're doing Atlas reviewed items, computer skills class. We have a STEM class in elementary now, and that's huge for us. And we also have a pause program for our students to increase reading engagement, and that's been really cool for them this year. This is just where they read and they respond, and a lot of kids get a lot of incentives for that. And then again, supporting our teachers through the instruction. So when we think about our mission statement, we do feel like Lisa West Elementary is doing everything we can to to shed light on Lisa Academy's mission statement, and we're kind of developing our own at this time. We have a guiding coalition. We want ours to complement the districts, but we want it to be specific to us. I'm sorry, I really need water. All right, so in our school improvement plan, if it's okay, I'll get a drink real quick. Okay, I apologize. That's the norm for me when I talk a lot. I have to have water. All right, so in our school improvement plan, here's some of the things that we're doing. We're conducting our PLCs. We're making sure that we have an accountability system. We want everybody with the same beliefs that every one of our students can grow. We've got an additional literacy coach support from APSRC, which has been wonderful, as well as Desi, and I have really enjoyed the relationship with her. She's been fantastic. I mentioned earlier that this is the book that we will be using next year to go through our model of instruction. We've already picked out two little goals that we'll have at the beginning of the year. Those will be the things that will be coming into classrooms and observing. All the teachers will know, because as a team we'll be doing that. So it's a great effort. Targeted observations and feedback, that's what I just described. Curriculum training and support. And the master schedule is written, and it always has been, to give teachers that common planning time, because we know how critical that is. I've already mentioned our HESA coaching with Dr. Guevara. I'm also enrolled in the Master Principal program. I'm finishing up the first year. It's been fantastic for me. And I think that just helps me to try to be a leader for this team that is watching me now. We're participating in the peer program. I have 4 teachers that will be working through that with me. Intervention supports as well. We've got our academic coaches and our enrichment teachers that are even working with that also. And we hold data meetings regularly after we get new data. Dr. Agam was amazing at putting this data together. So Dr. Agam pulled data. He wanted to know when we compare ourselves to Pulaski County schools, and this is all schools, both public and charter, that are similar in demographic. He used the free and reduced percentage. So he used 60% as his line of the schools that his benchmark, his benchmark. And of course, Lisa West Elementary is at a little bit over 70%, so we'll note that. And when we sort our school, we're right there at the top, like 4th. So we're doing some stuff that is different than these kids' home schools, okay? And the next slide, I'll actually talk a little bit about that. Dr. Agam also thought, let's figure out where are our kids coming from in Little Rock, because we all know that parents are transporting them in and out, so they're coming from all over the place. But some of the most concentrated areas have a lot of D and F schools. And so those parents are actively making a choice to take their child from their neighborhood school and bring them into Lisa Academy. And although we are definitely huge proponents of working with all schools and all children having success, no matter where they're choosing to go to school, we feel a huge obligation to these kids, a huge responsibility to them. We have to work to get this up. We have to work to give them everything that they need. So we had that little bit of excitement with knowing that we were 4th, and then finding out where they were coming from and knowing that we have to do even better for them. So that is definitely something that we are working on. I'll kind of take us back to the mission. At Lisa West Elementary, we know we're working on a collaborative culture. That's huge for us. We're looking in on pursuing instruction, achievement, and growth goals, the whole team. That's what's so critical about it. Continuous improvement is going to be the culture. celebrating achievements, overcoming challenges, collaboration, and we know that that is huge for unlocking success in education with our kids. And that is my closing. I am a parent of Lisa Academy as well. I have 2 graduates that have already gone through the system. So I've lived not only as an employee, but also as a parent.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Dr. Wright McMurray, do you have any questions?
I do. Thank you for your presentation and your team's time and effort in responding to our questions and putting together this information. When I was I can't recall the slide, I'm sorry, but when you had your subpopulations broke down on the growth that was occurring, still noticed and just wanted you to kind of speak to a little bit more on your supports that you're putting in place for your learners with disabilities, because it looks like that still was, even when we're looking at growth, was
Right.
the very lowest category that we were seeing on that slide.
Yes, definitely. And that's a great question because we do have a lot of things going on, not only as a district, but as a campus. We do have a new team that we're working with within our student services department. And they've been fantastic to really work through some of the things that we knew we needed to improve in. One thing that Lisa as a district is doing that I have seen a lot of success with is inclusion. Our kids, as much as possible, are going into those general education classrooms where the teachers that have the expertise in that field can teach them that content. And we've already seen growth in these students. So we're definitely focusing in on each area that we knew we needed to see more growth in, and that was one of them.
And just to add on that, as of staffing, West Elementary has most amount of staffing on special education. They have in-house coordinator, 3 to 4 teachers, ESL coordinators. They have math coach, ELA coach, which they work. So support staff, it's really huge. And we made a big shift this year with our special education department where, renewing the structure, putting all of our elementary and middle schools into inclusion model. So this year it's only 6th grade should be inclusion, but we made it shift at the beginning of the year. You know what? We want all of our students in the inclusion model.
And just still kind of on that vein, so as our students are moving through your elementary school and they're transitioning to middle, high school, can you speak to that conversations that are happening as relates to their IEPs and their 504 plans to make sure that what was put in place is continuing to follow with them? Because it sounds like that you guys realize that there's a concern there and you're trying to address it, but how are we making sure that when they transition to their upper levels that that's continuing?
That's also a great question. We're holding transition conferences with both teams, with the elementary team and the middle school team, and then so on and so forth, I'm assuming with the middle to the high school team. Obviously, I know we are with middle school. So both coordinators are coming together as well as teachers. They're coming to the table. They're talking about the student. They're talking about what accommodations or modifications that have been successful for that kiddo. We're also, we highly encourage our families to go to the middle school for their parent nights and get information from that administration.
Thank you.
Mr. Scott?
Yes, you spoke earlier in regards to targeted goals, especially in the ESSA index. Some instances 3%, some instances 5%. Could you just take a deeper dive into why those percentages?
Yes. So it kind of depended upon where we were sitting in the current data. And this was really an effort with Dr. Agam and I and our Dean of Academics on my campus as well, Mrs. Elrod, just coming up with where were we and then what is attainable, because we really want to see some success this year. Our teachers need to see it too. Our students need to see it so that we can get there. And in fact, you saw that we have our high reliability schools goals, and then we have peer goals. And those peer goals are around NWEA MAP testing. So again, we always look at where are we, where do we want to be, and what's attainable currently.
Just to add on Some numbers are high, some are low. On the growth part, Lisa Academy is really proud of being, high growth. But on the achievement part, where our, diverse students are struggling. So we added higher number to move the achievement high, but growth was already high, so they were a slight upgrade to give more numeric.
Excellent, thank you. Secondly, you mentioned your effort, you're working on an effort, when you look at the students that are coming in from the D and F schools, that you're working on a plan for them. Could you describe?
Oh, I'm
what that
sorry.
means?
That was probably a poor choice of words,
That's okay.
to be honest. But what we're actively making sure that we're helping those students achieve the things that their parents set out for them to achieve by choosing Lisa West Elementary. Encouraging a lot of parent and school relationships. I really want it to be familial. I want it to feel that way. That's super important to me. I want to have conversations with parents so that too they can also learn how do I help my own child also, because there is a piece there, that sometimes they just don't know. So we're actively working on those subpopulations. They chose us for a reason, so we want them to all succeed. Did I answer you?
You actually, I think you saw my notes here because that was exactly what was going to be my next question in regards to your strategy. And you do a great job of expressing how you grow capacity for your staff, but also growing capacity for your parents and
Yes.
family members to become equal partners.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like that's a piece that, because I've been an administrator at West Elementary for so long, but I'm only a second-year principal here, so I'm a baby principal. But that's something that I knew we needed to improve is our parents coming in. So we brought back a lot of events this year so that I could have those face-to-face conversations with families. I held monthly meetings too, just for them to come in, give me their feedback, tell me what they're loving, tell me what they're not loving, and us work together in a partnership.
I absolutely love that. When you talk about engagement, a lot of times we think of instances where we have a meeting or an event,
Right.
and we're sharing out, doing a lot of the talking versus listening. And
Oh,
listening,
yes.
that feedback is huge. So thank you for that. I'd be remiss if I didn't give you an opportunity to share about what I believe is one of your strong points in regards to home visits and gathering that data, and in particular your virtual home visits. If you can speak to that for the.
Yes, in fact, one of the people in our school district that does the most home visits is on my campus. But we feel like home visits really bridge that connection. We feel like it's really important for families to not be afraid of coming and having those conversations with us and talking with us on how to best help their children. So home visits are done in various ways. You can either go in person to their home, you can meet them at an establishment, or you can hold them virtually, which a lot of families, that's their preference. And that's been huge because now we see a lot more participation with the virtual home visits. But during these visits, it's really a conversation. We talk about where their kiddos are and how they're doing, but more importantly to me, it's how better can we serve your child? What do you know about your child that can help us serve your child? What are your goals long term? What is your students' goals? So it's just those conversations, and they've been excellent. Do you want to speak any more to the district?
So I guess I'm the number guy. So to give you numbers, our newest campus, they finished 100% of their home visits, and they are doing the second round right now, which is impressive. Her staff is her ESL coordinator, Ms. Watuko, which she's visiting with her, Spanish-speaking or, international and parents, and she has the most home visit, where she also holds literacy nights for parent nights. We have parent nights for the parents. And since it's elementary, our West Elementary parent participation is really high. We have fall festivals, we have other parent events where parents really come in and, fill out the school. So.
Thank you.
Mr. Davis?
Give me a, just 1 second. I'm looking at the NWEA scores, and,
Yes, sir.
and it seems as if you've done a tremendous job in moving third grade, fourth grade. So I'm interested in hearing, like, tell me how you do that, right? And then on the other hand, when I look at fourth to fifth,
Yes.
I actually don't see that movement happening. So I just want to get a better idea of what may be happening there compared to what's happening in your third, fourth grade sort of achievement sort of pieces.
Yes. So, obviously we're tutoring with all of our kiddos. We have RTI in all of our master schedules at every grade level. One of the things that we did see, we had some major teacher turnover in one particular class last year in fourth grade. Also, quite a few of our...
What does that mean? What does that mean?
We had a teacher...
Multiple teachers or just one teacher?
Well, one teacher moved down to a different grade level.
Okay.
Because she didn't feel like it was her fit to be in that upper grade. And then replacing that teacher proved to be difficult.
Okay.
So we had a lot of difficulty with that. And that group was definitely impacted by that. We obviously offered them summer school as well to try to make up that, and the tutoring as well. So also that fourth grade group that's now in fifth grade this year is our highest group for students that are identified as IEP or 504. It's kind of a big concentration within that particular group of kiddos that have come up. So they're in the sub-pop that we are working on, with inclusion and getting them in the classrooms and learning more.
And can you talk a little bit about your Saturday tutoring?
Yes.
program?
Yes. Now, we don't have one currently at my particular campus. We have in the past. But yes, the kiddos get to come. We try to make it camp-based. We try to make it fun. And we're doing a lot of this on Friday now that our day is extended. But the kids come, they get to have a little bit of fun. We get to do some hands-on learning, but also some strategies in helping themselves to learn. Our kids need to know how do they learn best. Sorry. Sorry.
So, about the Saturday tutoring, it's I'm one of the leaders on it as a teacher, coordinator, and director too. We have it on other schools. At West Elementary, it's a teacher-based, and some other schools, it's a whole school. They come in together. Like we had some schools with only 300, 400 student capacity, almost 80 students coming in on Saturday for the camp. We call it camp because we provide food for students. We provide activity. We are a dress school, right? But it's a free dress day, so students actually enjoy. And we actually have certain targeted students who want to come. But even our highest students say, you know what, I'm available, I want to come. So yeah, sure, it's open to everybody. At West Elementary, we have our, again, ESL coordinator, and our second grade, third grade team does Saturday school on their own schedule. And we also have high impact tutoring. I applied with my team, Ms. Ratterman, and we got accepted. So we are working with a company. They provide us almost 20 tutors, and we hired our own, about 6 to 8 tutors on our own. So we started right before spring break. So it's been going really well, and hopefully we'll continue next year too. So that's some additional support that we have.
How is it decided, like the Saturday tutoring, which schools decide to offer it and which schools don't?
Well, since it's Saturday, it's not a required, and we can't require schools to do it. All we do is really encourage and show their passion. Get the admins and teachers really like it. Of course, teachers get paid for it. It's an extra duty for teachers, and students, have extra learning and fun time. But we highly encourage schools to participate in it. But among our 10, 11 campuses, more than half of it's actively participating in it.
So basically where you see parents that are interested and willing to offer that opportunity.
Yeah, we have a school status, one-on-one text messaging. Ms. Hula can reach out any parent anytime through text message directly, and we send out to the parents, hey, your child will benefit from this tutoring. Can you bring it over? So if they do, then we have the Saturday tutoring.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll speak a little, I just want to kind of add to that. Unfortunately, I had high impact tutoring in my notes and I failed to mention it. The tutors that have been sent to us by this company are retired teachers, and they've been phenomenal. We're already seeing a lot of growth with our kiddos. Dr. Agam mentioned our second grade teachers. Honestly, that was the only teachers that were interested in coming in on a Saturday. We wanted Saturday school camp. We put it out there a couple of times, asking teachers to come in and help our kiddos out. But second grade is the team that was really, game to do that, as well as our L team.
Last year we paid $50 an hour for it to make it very impressive. This year it's $35, but still it's higher than regular tutoring.
Thanks for that, yeah.
And have you, just to kind of expand on that a little bit, have you thought about using some of those tutors that you've hired beyond the classroom teacher to maybe offer some of those Saturday schools or Saturday camps?
The high impact tutoring, it's state funded, and they have a restriction, has to be during school day only. So they don't accept after school or Saturdays. If there is any approval or if we have any funding, we are considering that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Baldwin?
I think this has been a great discussion. I appreciate the questions of my colleagues and your answers, and that answered a lot of thoughts I had. After having heard that, let me ask you, and I know this is hard to do, but look in the future, and do you see the improvement elevating your score from a D back to a C? And do you ever envision going from a C to a B in that future?
Yes, absolutely. And I'll tell you why I'm so confident in that, because of the work that's being done. The team that's coming together, everybody working together for sure. Sorry?
Was it enrollment?
I think he said, do I see ourselves going from let me make sure I understand, from a D to a C and then to a C to a B, is what I heard?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I'm telling you, I am extremely determined because I love these kids, I love these families, and I love this team. So I'll do everything, we will do everything in our power to definitely grow. Obviously, we're coming into a brand new test, so we don't know what that's going to look like. But I can assure you we will bring ourselves up to a C and then ultimately a B.
Just to add on that, Atlas, the new testing, state had a science interim, which is official, but on top of the science interim, as a director of academics, I led math and reading interims. We had our own 2 fall and winter interim, where next year state will have it too. I mean, it's unofficial, it's our team based, but we had a really constructed testing schedule, and our teachers are constantly using those assessments, to get the students do well in the testing too.
I just want to also really compliment you all on pulling down the peer school performance scores and the high reliability schools. I think there's some useful information gathered when you look at what other schools are doing and kind of challenge yourselves on that. Some you'll be higher than, others you'll be lower than, but it's always a good challenge to see how that's going. So I think the comparative to the other schools, it actually was revealing to me to see that you're at the top of the list of comparative schools. I didn't expect that, but it does give a different picture. And I think that's an important picture. And on a side note, Mr. Chairman, I've got something I'd like to discuss with the panel at the end of this, not relating to Lisa Academy, but just the thought I have based on some information I've received in other educational organizations I'm part of. If we have time, we'll take about 30 seconds. But the peer data kind of triggered my memory of that, and I think it'd be a useful discussion for us. But that's all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Moore?
Thank you so much for your time and for your thoughtful presentations. A lot of great information. Under your innovations, in addition to the tutoring, which I had questions about, so thank you for addressing that, it mentions strengthened academic and curriculum supports for teachers. Could you speak a little more to that? I know you talked about the high reliability school and the Marzano work. Is there anything with high quality instructional materials? What's your support?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that question, actually. One of the things, I'm going to answer that in a couple of different ways. One of the things that we did see with our curriculum is that we had a gap with the phonics curriculum. What we had was considered supplemental. And so, but we didn't realize this. When this was purchased through Benchmark, it was not clear that the skills bags, I'm using terms that you may or may not understand or know, but skills bags were considered something that you did in Tier 2 instruction. So our teachers started teaching out of these skills bags, even though they had, benchmark reading and vocabulary, and they thought, it's referring to Tier 1. It's referring to whole group. So we then started digging in and found out this is not our Tier 1 instruction at all for phonics, which is critical for our primary grades especially. So we are making a purchase at the end of this year to fill in that gap. And we've been working with the state, making sure that the curriculum that we chose checks as many boxes as possible. In fact, the one that we did choose checks more boxes than Benchmark Phonics. We're gonna go with magnetic reading, which is coming from Sandy Shepard, highly recommended it as well. So that was a big choice. So the curriculum piece, yes, but we also identified this year that we had a problem. We didn't have a high quality instruction material for phonics. So that's coming. Yes. So core curriculum stays benchmark for our reading instruction, yes, definitely. That's right. So we're filling in that gap. But also with the teachers, some of the things that we also saw is that our teachers didn't necessarily, some of them, newer ones that weren't trained originally with Benchmark, some of them still needed some professional development in how do they use this curriculum. So my coaches and my assistant principal that's over academics, as well as myself, went to training because I've never taught in this curriculum. We had a different one back when I was teaching at Lisa Academy. So we needed to go to training ourselves. We needed to understand the curriculum, how does it work, and then the coaches pulled teachers in throughout the year and did PD sessions with them at grade level at a time. And that's been really beneficial for our teachers also. And in addition to that, we do coaching cycles where our coaches are focused in on a particular teacher for 2 to 3 weeks. They spend a lot of time with them. They do a lot of modeling for them. Then the teacher does some teaching and they get a lot of feedback and do some peer observations as well.
So thank you. And you mentioned the curriculum for reading, reading and phonics. What's your math curriculum?
It comes through McGraw-Hill. It's called Reveal Math.
Which is also HQIM.
Yes.
So as a Lease Academy, Dr. Fatih has been, as a supporter of spending whatever necessary money on the HQIM. Even back then, I came to Lisa in 2019 from Texas, but when I came in, we were using HQIM. And as you know, HQIM started more being popular in Arkansas around that time. But we've been using high quality instructional material for core subjects like Benchmark Universe or Reveal Math used to be my math previously. But the main challenges Ms. Hula addressed, it's, especially after COVID, teacher turnover and the training needs they have, and they have to be in the classroom all the time, so which we are trying to address more at Lease Academy. On top of we have one of the highest teacher prep, except the team came in, we were astonished, like they have 17 PD days. Like in regular public schools, they only have 3 or 4, 5 top with the teacher prep, and they have 3, which is 7, 8 in a year. We have about 12 at Lease Academy, and on top, we work with the principals to pull the teachers from classroom where coaches can work one-on-one at the district or in the school, to support.
Any other questions from the panel?
Just one more comment from me. First of all, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you how phenomenal this presentation is.
Thank you.
I really like the way this is presented, and actually, as a panel, I think we should think about, there are certain pages within this presentation that whenever someone comes, the layout and how it should be presented should be this way. It's very clear, it's very concise. You do some comparisons that make a lot of sense. So I just want to, say congratulations on doing a
Thank you.
phenomenal job.
Thank you.
And I do think we should kind of figure out, whatever the pages are, and sort of say to other charters, like, here's what we expect, and even create a template based upon what we have.
This is my creation. I use,
So if I didn't like it, were you going to take credit then?
Sure. Yes. And it's publicly available since it's school data. I put it on Lisa Academy website for our parents to see, and not just Lisa. They can see entire Arkansas. They can search all A schools, B schools, C schools. They have a drag and drop. So it's interactive, and it is available on Lisa Academy website.
You do it through Power BI, right?
Power BI, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so you got that set up on there.
Great job.
Yeah.
I would like to add one more thing. Last year we have around 1,000 applications for West Elementary School for 193 seats. So it means around 800 students, they didn't find a seat. Again, there's a huge demand. The neighborhood maybe concerns, maybe accountability is going to be updated hopefully next year to reflect what they are doing. I think they do a great job. Students, they really grow. There is a huge demand. And hopefully, we will see better scores. Again, it's not an excuse. It is our high priority school. We have more support from the district, so I'm sure you will see this, school score improving every year.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Yes,
I'd
go
simply
ahead,
like
Scott.
to add, I love the quality presentation, have a great look of what's going on within the schools themselves and how you're engaging the families. If you could step me through a picture of the landscape of your community partners, how you engage, whether or not it's business partners or other outside groups in the process.
Yes, it's interesting because my Dean of Academics, who's watching me now, we're talking about a field trip this week because we want to go to some of these businesses that are local and work with them a little more, actually. But we actually have some parents that are family that own their own businesses that we obviously work a lot with. We also have some other local businesses, even for instance, all the way down to using someone's food truck, repeatedly throughout the year to help local business out as well. So trying to develop those relationships between Lisa West Elementary and all of our partners in the community has been top priority for me. I want them to know who we are. I want them to know what we're doing. And I also want their input on what is it they need when they see kids coming into the workforce.
And of course, if it's STEM related and they know us, they actually invite us to come present. For example, in the fall, they were Air Force, Air Base show, the 2-3 day show. On the Friday, students, public schools, I wish we have someday a bus. They bus their students for a charter school to bus just one bus. It's around $5,000 to $10,000, right? That school has to raise. But Lisa Academy was there to present. We were the vendors there. So we had our STEM festival where we partner with the hospital UAMS. They brought their robotic hand.
Da Vinci robot.
Da Vinci robot, yes.
Impressive.
Military academies, they always come and support us. And if they have any festivals, any events, we go, and they also come to present whenever we ask. So we have a really strong, community involvement as a district.
So this academy, graduation requirement, before, the Learn Act, we were already requiring 100 hours community service. So our students, they were supposed to go and do that community service hours. So we were already doing that. So our students, they go and, serve for the community, give back to the community, and then those community partners, they are appreciated.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you.
Other comments? Question? Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate the thoughtfulness of the presentation, and it helps us to kind of think through what we want to ask for when we look at the data for all of the other charters. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Any other business?
Mr. Baldwin had comments, I don't know if that
Oh, we
needs to
did?
be before or after.
Yes,
we
I
close
didn't.
the meeting.
Sorry, my computer died on me. Mr. Baldwin?
Yes, I just had a thought as Lisa was presenting, and it really, I think, follows up with Mr. Davis's thought real well. And we talked about this over a couple of meetings, and I think even last time when we were having lunch, we visited about the importance of peer data and understanding, how well we're doing as charter schools. And really one of the questions I always ask is, are we making a difference for charter schools, and are they fulfilling their mission? And I think sometimes we, as a committee, we're very involved in the detail, but stepping back a little bit and seeing kind of a macro picture every now and then would be good. In another group I'm a part of, it's a kind of an educational group. We were looking at a report that the U of A Office for Education Policy did. It's called "How Do We Know If Students Are Learning?" that I thought was just excellent. And I think it'd be great if we could look at this at our next charter panel meeting. If we could get that on the agenda. And I don't think it would take long, but I think it would be great. I think the panel members would appreciate it, and it kind of helps me with my question, are we making a difference? It makes me feel better about that, and it makes me feel that we are. So I just wanted to mention that. And then I also like Mr. Davis's comment about figuring out some of those comparative pages that we require, for each school to present. I think that's incredibly helpful to us also.
All right, thank you. Ms. Summons, were you able to catch what Mr. Baldwin said?
The first part I did not. What was
Mr. Baldwin, can you repeat what you were requesting that we put on the agenda for next time?
Yes, I have seen a report that the U of A's Office of Education Policy has put out. I'm not sure, if it's new or if it's a couple months old, but it's called "How Do We Know If Students Are Learning?" And I think that'd be an excellent document for the panel members to look at, and for us to maybe have a 15-minute discussion about, just see what we think about this type of information.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other comments or new business?
I have just 2 points. One is an action on our part, another is an action on the part of one of the schools. Action on our part is perhaps to compile some questions for Cabot. They're going to come back, and so if we could compile some questions appropriately, get them to them, that would be helpful. And then secondly, we're expecting Premier to provide us a signed facilities utilization agreement.
Okay. So Ms. Summons, Mr. Scott was requesting that we be able to send you questions to send to Cabot for fleshing out their, and then also the second part of that was the facilities agreement for Premier, if we can follow up on that as well. Any other comments or questions or new business? No? All right, thank you again. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And this academy is going to celebrate our 20th year. We are going to have an anniversary on October 12th, so we are going to send you an invitation for our 20th anniversary. And also we are pleased to announce we are going to implement this 2.0 model. We work with Bellwether, a nationwide organization for a strategic planning. So they came 2 years ago. So we are following the plan, and we are going to upgrade our system for the coming maybe decade as this is a 2.0. So you will hear a lot of new innovations in our model. So thank you for the opportunity to listen to us. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, if there's no new business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Any opposed? All right, the motion passes. We are adjourned.